Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbana zidna ilma. Allahumma faqihna fid din. Allahumma inni as'aluka ilman nafiya wa rizqan tayyiba wa amalan mutaqabbala. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. So here we are with our session number 127 for Quranic Arabic grammar, and for Surah Rahman we are going to be in our session number 8. So I will start this today's session with a question about the words that we covered in our last session, and the question was about kulla yawmin. There were many questions about this part, so let's understand what it is. Okay, so kulla yawmin, when you look at this word, you know that by construction, if I ask you the fragment between these two words, you understand, I hope that there is a idafa fragment between these two words, between kulla and yawmin. If you have an understanding of that, type 1. Alhamdulillah, that is clear to all of you, right? Then comes a word kulla. Do you think this word is always going to be a detail, or this word can be anything based on what its mudaf ilayhi is? It can be rafa, nasb, or jar. What do you think about this word? Does it always have to be nasb in status? Is it a kind of a word that must be nasb in status, like word like tahta, ba'da, fawqa? Does it sound like a word that gives us anything about time and place? It is not, right? So it is it can be of any status, right? If it is mubtada, it's going to be rough in status. If it is khabar, it's again going to be rough in status. If it is beaten up by harf jar, it's going to be jar in status. If it is detail in your jumla failure, or attaching itself to any maful bihi, like kulla kitabin, it's going to be nasb status, right? It can be of any status. It can sometimes be rough in status because it is naibul file, right? So or it can be nasb status because it is mafulun bihi, as I just said. Is this clear to each and every one of you? Right? We all understand that kullu can be of any status. It depends on what its role is in any given verse. Okay, if it is in jumla failure or in jumla ismiya, whatever role it has been assigned, it becomes, it changes itself. It's very flexible. It adopts many rules. It can be anything. Okay. Yes, it is one of the special mudafs. Yes, it is one of the special mudafs. It's going to be seen as mudaf in 99% of cases. However, it can also be seen in the heavy form where it is missing its mudaf ilayhi, and that also occurs in Quran, just like kullu lahu qanitun. So here you don't see any mudaf ilayhi for kullun. So when it comes to word like yawma, what comes to your mind when you see a word like yawma? Is it can be a zarf. It can be a zarf, right? So, you treat something as a zarf when it is giving you a detail in any given sentence. For example, when I show you this verse from Surah Al-Baqarah, وَالَّذِينَ اتَّقَوْا, الَّذِينَ is the beginning of your sentence. What kind of a sentence are we seeing? Jumla ismiya or jumla failure? It's a jumla ismiya. And ism here is allazina, which is a mawsool. After is a mawsool, the next step that you take is you are going to look for silatul mawsool. You have a silatul mawsool, which is going to be ittaqaw. Ittaqaw, jumla failure, is your silatul mawsool. Those who are conscious of Allah. So this allazina, what is going to be the status of this allazina, my dear sisters? It is rough in status because it is going to be the mubtada of your sentence, right? Then comes your fawqahum. Fawqahum, fawqa, again, special mudaf, as you say it. Is it a noun of a time or place? Yes or no? Not only a special mudaf, but it is a noun of place, right? It is a noun of place. It is the noun of place is called Zarf makan. Zarf makan. Is this clear? Right? Fawqahum yawm al-qiyamah. Just think of it until this part of the verse and forget about the rest of the verse. I'm not saying to forget, but just focus on this part of the verse. So fawqahum yawm al-qiyamah. Yawm al-qiyamah. So again you are seeing fawqa, nasbin status, yawma, nasbin status. Why are they both nasbin status? What is the reason for these two to be nasbin status? When you were being taught i'rab of any sentence, you are taught every doer is rough. The subject of the sentence is rough in most of the cases, in 90% of cases. Your khabar is rough in 90% of cases, right? In 90 or some cases, more than 90% of cases. The detail is going to be nasbin status. So those who are conscious of Allah are above them. Above them, is it not giving you the detail about, it's not telling you something about where will they be? Is it not answering your where question, right? So it is the makan. Yawm al-qiyamah, is it not answering your one question? Is it yes or no? When question, it is answering your when question, right? So that is why these two are going to be nasbin status, because they are detail. Okay, so detail is nasbin status, and in jumla ismiya as well, after your mubtada you see something which is nasbin status, you can call these two as mutaliq bil, because you have been taught throughout the course that you can label your special mudafs in your jumla ismiya as mutaliq bil khabar, and in your jumla fi'liya you can call them as mutaliq bil fi'l. Okay, you can call them as mutaliq bil. Okay, is everyone with me? This is clear. La taqata lana al-yawma. So al-yawma is telling you there is no power for us. When is there no power for us? Today, this very day, against Jalut and his armies. Make sense or no sense, right? There is no power at all for us on this day against Jalut and his armies. La ghaliba lakum. There is no one who can overcome you, overpower you all this very day. This very day. So all these yomas that are coming up as a detail, where the detail is answering your when question, what is the status? The status is the nasb, right? Wal waznu yawma izin. Wal waznu yawma izin al haqqu. Yawma izin al haqqu. So here, mubtada, yawma, and then al haqqu is going to be your khabar, right? So what are we going to label yawma as? Yawma izin. How will we label yawma izin? We are going to label it the same way as we have been doing it throughout the course. It is your zarf, it can be your mutaliq bil. There is no rocket science. There is no rocket science. Okay? However, when I tell you here, قال الله, Allah said, هذا يوم. هذا يوم ينفع الصادقين. This is a day on which it will benefit the sadiqeen, their truth. So why is this yomu and not yoma? Why is this yomu? Haza is mubtada, it is the khabar. Yomu is the khabar. Yomu is the khabar, and that is why it is rough in status. Is it giving you when answer, my dear sisters? Is it your when answer? This yomu? No. Think about it. This is the day. When you see haza, your next question is, what is about this haza? You are now inquisitive. You want to learn about this mubtada. And there comes your khabar. What is this? This is a day when their truth will benefit those who are truthful. Okay? So, do you see the difference? When Yawma is going to give you when answer, it is going to be Nasb status. Okay? Remember that very carefully. Okay? This one is not mutalik bil. This yawmu not mutalik bil. This yawmu is going to be khabar. Okay? This yawmu is going to be the khabar of haza. Okay? It is rafin status, yes, because it is giving you the khabar, right? And is it answering your when question? Think about that too. Is this yawmu answering your when question? It is khabar. It is telling you the information about haza. This is the day. For example, if I say the day is sunny, or it is a sunny day, it is a sunny day. Is this day, sunny day, answering when question? I ate apple on Friday. Is Friday answering my when question? It is. So Friday is going to be Nasman status, but it is a sunny day. Sunny day is not answering my when question. So when it is not answering my when question, it is not a detail. It is going to be rough in status, because I'm just telling you about a day, what kind of a day it is, right? I hope this is not confusing you even more than how and you are able to identify the differences. Let me see if I have more examples. Is it clear? Okay. So now when you go back to your words, kulla yawmin. Kulla is your regular ism. It has nothing to do with time and place. But is when you see a word every day, is this whole combination telling you something as a detail, yes or no? Start with that. Is it a detail in your sentence? It is a detail, right? I want to see how many of you agree to this as a detail. Okay? So when you look at this now, you understand that this is every day he is bringing about a matter. When is he bringing about a matter? Every day. So is this answering your when question? Yes, it is. It is answering your when question. Is it behaving like your zarf? Is it behaving like your zarf? Kulla, now think about kulla now. Is it behaving like a zarf? So can I call it is naib and is zarf? Just like naibul file? Just like how naibul file act like totally like a file, always after fail, only seen after as an outside. Naibul file can only be seen after hua hiya, matches in gender, all those things. But in actuality, naibul file is not a file, right? It is just a deputy for that, right? It takes over all the qualities of file. Yes or no? Similarly, just like naibul file takes over all the rules of file, whatever file has to do, naibul file does the same things. It even becomes rafin status. Isn't kulla not doing the same thing as any zarf and is nasbin status? It is just behaving like any zarf, and therefore, you see this term will come up. It is naib from the zarf. Okay, so I hope these 15 minutes were well spent on, and you understand where this naib word came from, and this is why this kulla is nasb in status. If anyone asks you, you are going to tell them my details are always nasb in status. Kulla yomin is answering my when question. It has to be nasb in status. Kulla is behaving just like my zarf. So therefore, it must be nasb in status. Okay, there is no rocket science about it. My zarf, my detail is always nasb in status. So is kulla yawmin. Okay, because we are talking about when is Allah bringing about a matter. Allah is bringing about a matter every day, right? So that is that. So I have assigned some work to you all. I hope you all were able to go over the differences between the different alifs. So if I asked you about astaqalani, and this was also posted on your on the YouTube channel as well. You may have seen, some of you may have seen it and attempted that question. Astaqalani has an alif in it. It is an ism. If there is an alif in an ism and it denotes number 2 and it is a sign of rough status, the name for this alif is going to be musanna. It is going to be musanna. When you see an alif, and now you are seeing an alif in the case of a fail, and it is a doer in the fail. It is a doer in a fail. Here it's going to be in tukazzibani. In tukazzibani, the name is going to be aliful isnain, because it is a doer, it's a file. Here you are going to call it aliful isnain. Names are very similar, same root letters, however, just different spellings. Okay, here you are, this alif is, and their function is very different. Did somebody go over how they are different? One is a pronoun and the other one is not a pronoun. It's just a sign. Okay, it's just a sign of number 2. It's just a sign of rough status. Whereas in case of tukazzibani, the doer is visible. In case of tukazzibani, it is an ism. It is a pronoun, which is a visible pronoun. When I taught you, when I give you an outline about how we see our pronouns, sometimes pronouns are visible, sometimes they are invisible. When they are visible, they are going to be after the last root letter. Kaf, zal, ba are the root letters. Alif is right after the last root letter. It is baris because it is visible. And this pronoun, this is a pronoun, and pronoun is an ism. So if I asked you, what's the status of tukazzibani, my dear sisters? It is rough in status because it's a doer pronoun, and every doer is going to be a rough in status, and every detail is going to be what in status? Every detail is going to be nasb in status, just like kulla is going to be nasb in status. It should not confuse you anymore, okay, inshallah. So then I was also wanting to ask you, if your fail is light test, if your fail is light test, and in my class, remember, if your fail is majzoom, what are the 3 ways it's going to show its jazm status? It's majzoom status. What will happen to the fail? Who can tell me? Number 1, okay, it is going to be, when the fail is going to be majzoom, it is going to show its majzoom status either by hasfun noon, or by the presence of sukoon, or by dropping the weak letter. What are the weak letters in Arabic? Waw, alif, ya. Waw, alif, ya. Waw, alif, ya. Okay, and waw, alif, ya. So never confuse alif with hamza. Hamza is going to be always with a haraka. Alif is never going to be with a haraka, ever. Never, ever going to be with any haraka. Okay, so keep that in mind too. So that was that. So here we already covered the majzoom status. So in case of unfuzu, what do we see? what kind of a fail it is. It is mudari or something else. And don't be confused, because we are talking about majzoom. It can be something else too. So it is a command. Barakallahu fi. Why, Sister Rabia, this is going to be command? Why cannot this be mudari? Though there is noon omitted. What are we not seeing here which must be there in mudari? In fi'lul mudariya, there must be alama or the sign of mudare. Here, there is no sign of mudare. Therefore, we cannot call this fi'lul amr. You do not have sign of mudare, so you are going to label it as fi'lul amr. And alhamdulillah, we have already gone over it, over this verse. And the status here was fi mahalli jazmin, because our jumla shartiya and jawabu shart were connected through the fa. If your jumla shartiya and jawabu shart are connected with fa rabita, the status of your jawabu shart is going to be fi mahalli jazmin, in the place of jazm. Okay, so if you know it, good. If you are still struggling with that, I will just want you to make a note of it, and inshallah we will work on it. I will keep on asking you, and you will inshallah be well versed with everything. Okay, so jawabu shart, if it is attached with fa, in that case it's going to be fi mahalli jazmin. There is another condition for that too, but we have not gone over that, so I'm not going to tease you at this point. Let's start with verse number 35 of Surah Rahman. Yursala alaykuma shuwazun min nar. So yursal, what kind of a sentence are we seeing here? Jumla failure. Is the fail madhi or mudari? It is failul mudari. Barakallahu feek. It is mabni lil majhool. What tells us that this is majhool? What is there? U-a, dhamma and fatha. U-a sound. Okay, U-a is telling you this is fail majhool. When you have any fail, what is the next step after determining the fail? You look for a file in case of an active fail. In case of a passive, you should look for naibul file, right? But here, you should look for naibul file. What can be the possible naibul file if I just give you the word yursalu? Yursalu can be huwa yursalu. Barakallahu feek, naibul file is going to be huwa. Now, when you have huwa here fail, you should look for an outside naibul file in case of passive. Do you see one? It is now going to be called naibul file. This raf ism is going to be now called naibul file. Cannot be file, because in case of majhool, what is not known? What is not known in case of majhool? The doer is unknown. We have jahala about the doer. Therefore, we cannot say shuwazun is the file. It is going to be naibul file. When you see a common ism which is followed by jar wal majroor, what comes to your mind? What you have to make a stop there, and you need to see, how can I connect these two words? Okay, so no, do another step. When you look at your complex sifa, and I must have something here. This is hal and this is anwa'u sifa. When you have your complex sifa, you will see a common ism. Is shuwazun a common ism? Yes or no? These three options. It is a common ism. You see al-ismul mufrid after it, like al-kitabu mubin, kitabu mubinun. No, you are not seeing that. But you are seeing a jar wal majroor, right? And jar wal majroor and zarf. Jar wal majroor and zarf are called or given this name shubu jumla. Okay, shubu jumla. So here, can I call minnar? Minnar is a complex sifa for shuaz. Yes or no? flame of fire. Flame of fire. So flame could be of anything, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is detailing it for you, is telling you this is no ordinary flame. This is a flame made up of fire. And wanuhasun. Wanuhasun. What do you think? How can you connect these two together? Is there any way you can connect nuhasun with whatever is before? Barakallahu feek. You are going to connect them through atf. Through atf. Nuhasun. Very well done, Sister Amina. It is your ma'tuf. Narun. No. It is your ma'tuf. Where is ma'tuf alayhi for nuhasun? Nuhasun is ma'tuf. Where is ma'tuf alayhi for nuhasun? Is nar or shuaz? Barakallahu feek. No, shuaz is going to be the ma'tuf alayhi for it. I told you when I taught you about the at fragment, only one property must match. Only one property you are going to see. That must be matching. The rest you don't care about anything. That one property that must match between ma'tuf, ma'tufun alayhi, and ma'tuf is their status must match. And I'm so happy to see the answer. Their status must match, right? So there's a flame of fire and smoke. Okay? So there will be sent upon you a flame of fire and smoke. La tantasirani. La tantasirani. What is the name for this la, my dear sisters? Nafiya. Because you are seeing mudare in its regular form. You don't see any omission of noon. If there was a noon omitted, what will be the name for la? In that case, la is going to be nahiya, because la nahiya is a kind of la which is going to be one of your harufe jazima, because it makes your mudare majzoom, right? It makes your mudare majzoom, or it makes your mudare light test. But here, your mudare is, what's the status of mudare, my dear sisters? Rafness or jazm? It is raf in status. B, subutin noon, because noon is intact, so we call it is a raf in status. Who is the doer? Do you see the doer in this fail mudare? Is it visible? Alif is the doer. Barakallahu feek. Everyone, I want answers from all the Sister Rabia Ali as well. And the name for this alif, is aliful ithnain. Aliful ithnain. And this is your pronoun. This is your visible pronoun. So your pronouns are not always hidden. Okay, they are inbuilt, but they are not always hidden. Some pronouns are visible. As you can see, aliful ithnain is damir baris, visible, which baris means visible, and it's also an attached pronoun, right? Isn't it not attached to the end of the word? It is also a form of attached pronoun. And the status of aliful ithnain, everyone, what is going to be the status of this aliful ithnain? Since it's a doer, it's going to be raf in status. Okay, everyone with me? Whenever you see a very new sentence, when a sentence is this sentence seem to be connected to whatever was being said before? Do you think that this sentence is connected to whatever was being said before, or there is a different conversation altogether? Let's see what was before. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was saying that, there will be Allah was addressing the two jinns and insan, and if you have the strength, then you try to cross over the letters of skies and the earth, then you don't not you will be able to cross it except with the authority from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then comes something will be thrown on them. I think this is like, this is an altogether different new topic that has begun. Don't you think? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, first of all telling them, okay, do this, and now there is something like different, right? So when you see something in between two conversations that are connected, that is your i'tirad. Okay, when you have one sentence and there's a sentence in between, and then there's another sentence, but the first and the third sentence are connected to one another, and the second one is not connected, you call it i'tirad. Okay, you call it i'tirad. When you have a different conversation, when you have a beginning of a different conversation, then you say a new topic, istinaf. Okay, a new topic is going to be istinaf. If the conversation was back to those skies and earth, and you try to do this, you try to do that, then I would say, call it i'tirad, that this is interjection. But this is not an interjection, this is a new topic, so you can call it istinaf. One thing I want you to know about this sentence is, when you have a jumla istinafiya, it is also going to be la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab. It has no status, just like your jumla ibtidaiya, the sentence at the beginning of the words, like at the beginning of the surah, like alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Your jumla istinafiya, the sentence that starts all together a new conversation, is also going to be la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, so it has no i'rab, just like your silatul mawsul has no i'rab, just like your jumla i'tiradiya has no i'rab. This is another sentence that will have no i'rab. Okay, we will not work on the status of that sentence. It is important to know that this one has no i'rab, because there is something that will need for you to learn the i'rab of. Okay, so fa'iza, iza in shaqqat, fa'iza, fa'izan shaqqat, iza. When you see iza, have you ever learned word iza? It is a zarf, yeah. Because why is it zarf? How do we translate it? Is it zarf zaman, zarf makan? It is zarf zaman. Are your zuruf isms or haruf? Is your zarf ism or harf? No. This zarf is an ism, my dear sisters. It is an ism. Remember that. Zarf, as I told you, what is the definition of zarf? It is a noun of time and place. It can be noun of time or place. Actually, it should be noun of time or place, right? Make sense or no sense? It is a noun, so it is an ism. Okay, it is an ism. So iza. Something very interesting about this ism is, this ism zarf comes up, and most of the zuruf you will see, they are going to be seen as mudaf. What are they going to be seen as? Because when you look at words like fawqa, tahta, bada, qabla, what are they seen as? Yawma, even yawma, you mostly see it as mudaf. Yes or no? If someone has any confusion, please kindly tell me, stop me here. Okay, right? So they are mainly seen as mudaf. What is special about iza? Is it any mudaf, or it is a very special kind of a mudaf? It is a mudaf that is going to set a condition. Okay, it is going to set a condition. And as Sister Shamim is typing also, that it's going to be for istiqbal as well. Mostly the sentence that is after iza is going to be translated as present future. Okay, or future mainly, but present future will keep things safe for you. Okay, whenever you see iza, whatever is going to come after it is going to be translated as present future, no matter what tense comes after it. Okay, when you look at word inshaqqat, what kind of a word is inshaqqat? It is fail madin. With every fail, you have a pronoun. Is the pronoun visible? It is hidden. The ta sakoon, the ta had a sakoon. The ta has a sakoon here. It is just the sign of feminine fail. Okay, it is just a sign of a feminine fail. It is not doing anything, but it's just telling you that the doer in this fail is feminine. It is lit ta'nisul fail. Barakallahu feek, right? It is for ta'nisul fail. Ta is for ta'nisul fail. In shaqqat انشقت السماء. What is as-sama'u doing here? It is an outside doer. So now here is going to be cancelled, or it will still remain? Since here is the we have as-sama'u, I'm going to cancel out here. Okay. So I was talking about iza as ism shart. I'm talking about iza as zarf. I'm talking about iza as mudaf. What kind of mudaf ilahi are we seeing here? Do we not see any mudafun ilayhi? We are seeing jumla failure as mudaf ilayhi. Inshaqqatis sama'u is mudaf ilayhi for iza. And it is going to be fi mahalli jar. Barakallahu feek, Sister Rabia Ali. I am very proud of you. Okay, then comes your fa and call it connector, qanat. When it comes to qanat, what kind of a sentence we are seeing here? Jumla ismiya or jumla failure? Here we are seeing jumla ismiya. Qanat. Qanat. What kind of a qanat is this? It is fail naqis. Fail naqis. When it is fail naqis, every fail has a pronoun. Who is the pronoun here? It is hidden. Barakallahu feek, Sister Faiza. And the pronoun here is hiya, right? It's a hiya because the tasakun is giving you the idea. The doer here is hiya, right? Because there's a tasakun after your fail naqis. So here is a pronoun, not a doer, pronoun. Why do we call kana naqis? Why do we call kana naqis? Who remembers? Every fail must have a tense, right? Does kana has a tense? It does, right? It is kana yakunu, it has a tense. Every fail has a pronoun. Does it have a pronoun? You just told me it does have a pronoun. Does it have an action? It will be. It will be. Is there any action? Is there any action? Is it like eating, sleeping, helping, or nothing? Nothing, right? There is no action. That is why everyone is writing kanat is going to be naqis. When you have fail naqis, the pronoun, yes, it is naqis. The pronoun now in this fail is going to be called ismu kana. Instead of calling it a file, you are going to call it ismu kana. And why are you going to call it ismu kana? I need an answer. Why not doer? Because doer is for an action. When there is no action, how can we have a doer, right? As is advisor, and all of you are writing no action, no doer. So therefore, you are going to call here ismu kana. When you have ismu kana, the next step is look for khabru kana. Barakallahu feek. Khabru kana. Do you see khabru kana here? It will become wardatan. It will become wardatan is the khabru kana. Kaddihan. And khabru kana, what should be the status of khabru kana? It should be nasbin status. Can I connect? Sister Faiza is saying that this can be mutalik bil khabar kaddihan. But is there any other way you can connect wardatan kaddihan? Yes. Do you think we can do that? It will be rose colored like oil. Huh? Should we call it because this is a jar wal majroor, and we just went over what are the types of your complex sifas. Keeping those in mind, it's a shubu jumla because it is jar wal majroor. We can label it as complex mawsoof sifa. Everyone agrees? Sister Meena, what do you say? Can I call it sifa? And Sister Afsha agrees, right? Yeah, we can call it sifa, right? And what will be the status of kaddihani as a whole fragment? What will be the status of kaddihani if it is a sifa? It's going to be then nasbin status, right? Because mawsuf sifa is going to be matching in properties, or you can call it, to be precise, it's going to be fi mahalli nasbin, right? Everyone got it? Okay. Now let's move on to the, before I move on to the next verse, let's just quickly do the surf of all that we have covered so far. Yes, Alu. Did we cover the surf of yes, Alu in our last session? I don't think so. I don't remember. Did we? Just real quick. Which family? Mujarrad or Mazid Fihi? Mujarrad or Mazid Fihi? It is family 1 or Mujarrad. When it is Mujarrad, Mujarrad has 6 abwab. Nasara, Daraba, Fataha, Sami'a, Karuma, Hasiba. Which one? When your Mudare is Maftuhul Ain. Maftuhul Ain. It is Maftuhul Ain. So you can call it that this is coming from Fataha, right? And also there is one more clue. One of the word is from Haruful Halkiya. Aisha, so proud of you. Barakallahu feek. Yes, because Hamza is from your Haruful Halkiya, so you can give it to Fataha. Barakallahu feek. Sa'ala yas'alu. Then I'm going to do the surf nafruhu. Nafruhu. What do you think is this coming from? It can be from, again, Mujarrad, no extra letters. So it can be from Bab Nasara. When you look at istata'tum, what do you think? It is mazid. Is it mazid bi harf? Is it mazid bi harfain? Is it mazid bi salasatil ahraf? Is there 1 more, 2 more, 3 more? Barakallahu feek, Sister Amina. Love it. Mazid by 3. Barakallahu feek. So Hamza, Sin, Ta are extra. So not extra like Mazid, and therefore it is going to go to family number 10. Tanfuzu. Tanfuzu. Again, family 1, where we are going to put Babe Noon, Barakallahu feek, Unfuzu, Tanfuzuna, everything we can give it to Babe Noon. And then when we look at this Yursalu, what do you think? We have seen it so many times. So my guess is this is from Arsala Yursilu. If it is from Arsala Yursilu, it is from Mazid. And this family, it has Hamzatul Qata as a Mazid letter. It is Mazid Bihar with Hamzatul Qata as a Mazid letter. So it is family number 4. When you look at word Tantasirani, Mujarrad, Mazid Fihi. Tantasirani. It is Mazid. Mazid bi harfain or bi salasatil akhraf. 2 or more. Barakallahu fi. Which family? You getting there, Aisha? Got it. Family number 8, because you are seeing extra ta after the first root letter. Intasara. Because we look at the Madin, and in Madin, Intasara, how many letters are extra? More than Noon Swadra. 1 or 2. Intasara, 2 letters, Hamzatul Wasl. The second one is Ta. Family 8, one family where you see Ta after the first root letter. All rest, Ta before the first root letter. Right? Alhamdulillah. When you look at word Inshaqqat, Mazid or Mujarrad? Mazid or Mujarrad? Mazid bi harfain. Harfain means 2 dual, or bi salasatil akhraf. There is Hamza additional, Hamzatul Wasl additional, Noon additional. So there are Mazid by 2, and this is going to go to family number 7, Infial. Infial. What is the passive for this family? Who can tell me the passive for this family number 7? Thank God you were not tricked. Yes, there is no passive for family number 7. Barakallahu feek. Very well done. I was just trying to trick you, and you are smart, and I'm very proud of you. So, in shaqqat, sheen, qaf, kaf are the root letters, right? Okay. When you look at kanat, kanat is also coming from Nasara clan, but we have not done it, so I'm not going to go into detail of that. So I'm going to skip again to verse number 38, and let's start for yawma idhin. Let's start here, and so that we can cover some, and then we can go over the concepts again. Okay, yawma idhin, one word or two words? There are two words. Yawma, one word. Idhin, idhin is another word. Idhin is in actuality word. What is a light form of idhin? Is it iza or is? It is, right? Is the light version of idhin. When it is missing its sentence after it, it is going to be idhin. Okay, so it is going to be idhin when the sentence after it is missing. You see is, after is, what do you see? There is a sentence that is jumla failure, right? After is in Quran, you see jumla failure, right? Mostly you will see jumla failure. La here is going to be ism fail harf. It is a harf, la mahalla lahu min al-i'rab. Is it la nafiya lil mudari? Can I call it la nafiya lil mudari? Huh? La nafiya lil mudari? Everyone agrees to that? I will call it that because it's not changing anything. It's simple la nafiya, okay, lil mudari. Because it is seen before mudari. Yus'alu. What are we seeing after mudari? Yus'alu. And I'm saying after, what are we seeing after? I meant to say la lil mudari. After la lil mudari, we are seeing fil mudari, which is mudari ma'loom or majhool. It is majhool. Barakallahu feek. The status of mudari. It is rough in status. Is it marfu bid-dammatu zahira? Can I call it marfu bid-dammatu zahira? And you know, this term only means what? Rough in status with a clear visible dhamma. Just that's a meaning. But you sound very intellectual when you label things like that, when you say things like that, right? It is just very simple, plain, you know, it is marfu bid-dammatu zahira. Just a clear visible dhamma is there, so it is marfu in status. An zambihi. An zambihi. What is that? Jar wal majroor. I'm going to call it mutalik will fail. Mutalik will fail. And then comes insun. Insun. It is going to be naibul file, right? Naibul file, because after majhool, you are only going to see the naibul file, right? The same thing that the file does in active, naibul file does in the passive. It assumes the same role. However, it acts like a file, but it is not a file, right? Because the file is unknown here. Okay, because the questioner has not been mentioned here. Who is going to question? It's not mentioned. It is known. Okay, right? It is known. So in this case, insun wala jan. How am I going to connect? Waw is going to be at. La is going to be nafiya. Yeah, we can call it la nafiya. Janun. Jan. What is this? Insun is going to be matuf alayhi. Jan is going to be matuf ala ins. Remember that. That is how you are going to connect. That is why I told you in the beginning of the course that this at fragment is very important for us to be very well versed with. I'm going to call insun not only naibul file, but it is also matuf alayhi for jan. Okay, And do you notice if this la was not there, if it is not there, still it's going to be making the same, you can even omit it, right? You can even omit it. Yes, it is la nafiya zaida litawkidin nafi, for the emphasis. La nafiya zaida litawkidin nafi. La nafiya zaida litawkidin nafi. I did not put it there, but it's in my other slides. It is there, okay? So I'm going to definitely share with you some brief information about that, okay? So everyone with me so far, I hope? Yes. So yes, it is going to be mutalik bil fail. Yes, it is. You are going to call yawmaizin. It is going to be. It can be labeled as mutalik bil fail, because you are talking about the day where no one will be asked about his sin from the human beings and the jinns, right? So it is again going to be mutalik bil fail. Is this yawmaizin not talking about the same day when the skies are going to be torn apart and the sky will be like rose colored like oil? Yeah, right? Are we seeing that there's a this day izan shaqqat, this izan shaqqat is sama'u fakanat wardatan kaddihan, is about the same time. The same time is being mentioned, and then again the same time is going to be here. This far, for the time being, I don't want to go into details of this far, okay? I'm going to keep it towards for the end of the series, okay? We are going to cover these, otherwise it takes a lot of time, and the main, the simple concepts are not, I'm not able to cover those ones. Inshallah, we'll go over each and everything. Whatever is going to be left, we will go over that. When you see a passive, like you're seeing a passive here, what is being highlighted in yursalu alaykuma shuwaz, or yuraful, or for first, let's see here, la yusalu, action is being highlighted. And you're also noticing, is the doer highlighted when you have a passive? Do you think a doer is highlighted when you have a passive? Remember when we went over the passive, why sometimes the passive is used in Quran? Do we all remember that? Why? What is the benefit? Sometimes there is no reason to mention the doer. In that case, you omit the passive, you use the passive, you omit the doer. When you have to emphasize the fail, when you have to emphasize the action, the focus must be on action. In that case, you see omission of the doer, as we can see here. وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ, when the Quran is being recited. So the focus is the reading of the Quran and the Quran itself. The object of an action is way more important, is way more emphasized. The action of reading Quran is way more emphasized than the doer itself, right? So for that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in Arabic as well, in general, there is no mention of the file. When we have to expand the scope of an action, you don't want to specify a doer, like everyone and everything may be the doer. In that case, the file or the doer is omitted. For example, lu'inu fi dunya wal akhirah innal lazina yarmuna al muhsanati al-ghafilat al-mu'minati. Indeed, those who falsely accuse chaste, unaware and believing women are cursed in this dunya and the hereafter. They are going to be cursed not by just Allah, not by just angels, not by just human beings, but maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that every creation on the earth is going to curse them. So by just making it passive, don't you think the doers are, there's a whole lot doers that can be added in lu'inu, right? So the scope has now expanded. And sometimes, you will see a command applies regardless of who is disbelieving and mocking. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to not sit with those, and all of us to not sit with those who make fun of the verses of the ayat. Does not matter who is making. Sometimes, you will see Muslims also sometimes, some with certain verses of Quran, they jokingly talk about things, not disregarding the respect of Quran, and so we are not supposed to be the part of that conversation. So keep that in mind. Okay, so that was about passive. So what do you think is the rhetorical benefit here? Why is this passive? Again, you are going to tell me yursalu alaykuma shuwaz, that this is, the focus is not on the doer, the focus is on the action, right? Again, yusalu. Sometimes when the doer is very well known and we know who the doer is, like khuliqal insanu, insan was created. Who created the insan? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So is the doer not known to all of us? Here, when the doer is known to all, in that case, it is also allowed for a sentence to be in the passive form. La yus'alu an zambihi. No one will be asked about his deeds because everything is already known. And in this case, who will be answerable to? Right at the moment, we are not going to be asked about the deeds, but there will be a time when there will be an accounting back and forth. But Rahman, right? So here, the focus, where did the focus shift to? Number one, everyone knows that the asking entity, asking is going to be only done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, here, we are more we are focusing on the action, and also who is going to be asked. That right now you don't think that you have any accountability, but that day there is an accountability. In between the lines, there is a questioning that is going to happen, we believe or not. But even if there is no questioning, everything is there, right? Already there. Everything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows it all, right? Do we know any more isms that can come as mudaf and they have mudaf ilayhi as a complete sentence? I want each and every person of this class, Yoma, to know there are isms that you are going to see in Quran, and there's a whole sentence after them that is always going to be labeled as the mudaf ilayhi for them. Okay, mudaf ilayhi for them. There are some words that you sometimes will see there's a sentence following them, and that is not their mudaf ilayhi because iza and is has other actions as well. But for now, I want you to know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of these isms. When you see is, iza, yawma, hina, lamma, kullama, haisu, and if there is a sentence after them, what are you going to label it? What is the status of that sentence? Fi mahalli jar. Fi mahalli jarrin. Is this clear to each and every one of you? Because that sentence is going to be coming up as mudaf ilayhi. Okay, and this is what is complex idafa. The complex idafa is a fragment between a light word without al and a sentence. What is a complex idafa? You will see a word which is light without alif lam, and there's a sentence following that word which will be its mudafun ilayhi. So having said that, if I asked you the status of inshaqqatis sama'u, what is the status of inshaqqatis sama'u? It's going to be fi mahalli jar because this is mudaf ilayhi for iza. Okay, and fa if it is atf. If it is an atf, what will be the status of kanat wardatan kaddihan? It is also going to be fi mahalli jar because it is going to follow it through fa. Okay, because it is going to be the ma'tuf. So it's going to be the same status as in shaqqatis sama. Is this clear so far? Okay. So let's do, no, we ran out of time. So it's 1 o'clock already. Let me stop here.